Safe. What should I call that opening 5 minutes? We need new signings. Sorry, people. Out of them. I think I'll just call it that and then think of it later. So yeah, let me before I crack on with this Joe Willock stuff and this James Madison stuff and whatnot. Big up to AFC Bell. Let me take in what you guys are saying, people. You guys should be fighting to bring Bernardo Silva to your club. I hope we are, but at the end of the day, bro, we're not gonna hear that from him. He's not gonna want to come. 22 million, we got lowballed again. Only Arsenal could have a lack of midfield goals, yet sell a guy who scored more than our midfield in half a season. Feels already like another deal we'll regret. Who knows, man? I wish Joe all the best if he does leave. I want him to develop and them things, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I don't think the club can win because certain people were saying Joe Willock isn't good enough. And now you see the money, and there's an issue with that regards. We should have got 30, we should have got this without understanding the dynamics. His contract has about 2 years to run. The man should be leaving, he shouldn't be the first on the names of the list to go. But I'm not as against it. As long as you've got a sell-on clause and it can rise over 25 million, it is what it is, people. He might get better, he might not. What we need to do is reinvest. And Joe Willock right now is not the future of this football club. One day he might be. I do think there's some legit in what you're saying, Charles. Not to you, but I don't think anybody can win because certain people are gonna cry that if he stayed and we didn't take the money and it went left. Obviously, if he develops, there's going to be an issue. And to be honest with you, it could be a bit like Martinez, but for someone who went for half a season, has made himself a 20 million pound player. That's what the academy is there to do. Is at times make profit for the team. I'm not gonna lie to you. We might sit here one day and say, "Oh, what happened with Joe? This, that, and the other." But if you sign these hours and these Madisons and just forget the star names, just somebody that's better than Joe Willock and someone that's able to partner Partey or do what Xhaka's done and ultimately elevate this midfield, I'm not going to give a shit, pardon my language, but it's a necessary evil. The world keeps spinning. You bring in some bad boys, it is what it is. Certain people get lost, but I do 100% agree with you. And only time can tell. I wish Joe Willock the best, though, man. I'm not going to lie to you. He's been here. This is actually the only club he's actually played for. He didn't even play Sunday League. And, to grow in life, you've got to get out your comfort zone. And I feel he would have seen this Joe Willock a couple of seasons ago if he took the plunge and went. I think sometimes these lot have been a bit too passive in their futures, and I do think there's that luxury in that we've had a lot of Haaland boys hang around the side due to the weakness of where Arsenal is, and I think that aided some complacency, especially when we did have the Europa League when we did have the cup games and them things there. Minutes are currency, a little bit of football last season, to put it blunt. No, man are talking. Guys that aren't Arsenal fans and girls that aren't Arsenal fans are talking about Joe Willock way more than any noise he's made at Arsenal. So I wish him all the best. But as long as it's reinvested, I don't care. I don't care about selling Willock if we sign a centre mid. Obviously, if we sit here and don't do the business, this is the thing. Like Joe Willock, he's again. I'm not going to say he's not on the transfer list. I think he's one of them if the right offer arrives. And obviously, he wouldn't be my first guy to leave because we've got people that earn a lot more than him that haven't got the little luxury of at least saying we can see what you do in the future. I don't know his money and I don't like to watch people's money, but I'm pretty sure he's not on the salary like historically, Mkhitaryan and Kolasinac and Ozil and Willian and all of these overpriced players or overpriced wages have been, and some are still in the squad, Willian and Kolasinac. I know Willian, like Joe Willock, wasn't in the match they scored yesterday, so there could be some movement in that regards. They would have been it, but at the same time, Joe Willock's an attractive, out of all the players we could sell, there's a bit of an attraction to Joe. He's young. He's shown a little bit at Newcastle. There's scope to grow. There's scope for resale value for Newcastle as well if he develops. Nobody's trying to buy El Nene. He has to stay here. No one wants Kolasinac. We're begging him to tear up his deal. Bro, it's complete suicide what we did with Willian. Only Arsenal could go through a scenario with Kolasinac, with Mkhitaryan, with Mesut Ozil, and I'm not being fair to all of them names I said, and then commit another overrated player or underpriced player or underperforming player to massive wages. There's a whole leap of mismanagement at this football club. And, to be a week, well, not even a week, man, 6 days now before the start of the season. Like I said, I'm not expecting everything to be done in terms of ingoings and outgoings. I'm not expecting to look like Barcelona historically in pre-season, but building blocks. See no building blocks on the tactical point of view. Again, Arteta, I'm no idiot. Of course, he's working on tactics and trying to do things. But to me, as a fan, based on these preseason games, I see the same nonsense we was doing last year. Couple that with underperforming players with a lot of bad habits. There's issues. I'm not going to sit here and turn on Pablo Mari, for example, people, because I think he's looked good in preseason, other than yesterday. But it's like what I told you, in that fans start putting these players in positions that they can't fill, man. And I've no disrespect to Marie, it's more the fans. I've never seen a player that's played so small amount of games and such a small sample size be so rated by the Arsenal fan base. I'm not saying you can't rate him. I just can't. Man would talk like he's the best in the league, and like you see, he's shaky. When it gets to it, he's shaky. Like a lot of these players, they will play well when the times to come, they're shaky. And obviously, Marie's lack of pace and naiveties, like you saw yesterday, are gonna be problems. Even the game we won against Chelsea. Everybody forget his penalty he gave away. He had a stinker. And I'm not going to sit here and be reactionary. As I said, out of these bad bunches, I think Marie's looked good in pre-season. So Marie and Ben White would be the guys for me to start. But again, it resets it because Holding might be fit. You might say Holding and Ben White. Where Gabriel's apparently at London Coley, probably not going to be fit for Brentford. And even if he is it wise? One thing I would like to learn from last season is sometimes lose a battle, but not the war. And what I mean by that is I think Arteta's gambled unnecessarily with players' fitnesses, like you saw with Xhaka, to the point where he's picking up a recurrence of an injury in Villarreal, like he did against David Luiz. I would have saved David Luiz for that semi-final. Personally, I think the same with Thomas Partey as well. When we played Spurs, ironically, his first North London derby, the man weren't fit. We played him. He suffered a recurrence. I think that's where we're seeing naiveties. And this is the issues we have. So we'll have to see what's going on in that regards, man. But it's a madness of a season, man. It's going to be a madness of a season, man. Personally, I believe Joe Willock has played enough games for Arsenal's first team to be worth 40 million. I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're not wrong, Phil. I'm not saying you don't have a point. But to play devil's advocate to you, he's played a bunch of games. What's he done? Out of all of them, and I know there's the English premium, so you're not wrong. And I would obviously like that. But are you trying to, if you're Newcastle, you're paying 40 million for him? I think 20 to 30, 25 to 30 is just about fair, in my opinion, because what's he done? He scored a bunch of, and I'm not saying this to criticize him. I'm saying it, on a realistic thing. Like, man's been in Arsenal's first team for a minute. He's made more noise in this Newcastle team for half a season to the whole footballing world, not just Arsenal fans, than he's ever done. He has played 60 odd times or something, I'm sure, off the top of my head. What's he done? He has scored some cup games, but what memorable games are there? I'm not saying there isn't, because if I start to think, there's been games Joe Willock has played very well, but for 40 million, I shouldn't have to scratch my head for it. Granted, I've seen 40 million spent worse, but I think we're reaching a bit with that one. Maybe if he has another full season, he bads it up again, would say it's too cheap. But, I can't lie. I do, I would prefer 30 million. I'd actually prefer him to go out on loan. But as I said, all options are open for me, whether it's lowballed or not. 25 million for a player that, even if we signed all the midfielders we want, is not going to feature too much. Might develop, might not. If you've got a sell-on clause, you've got a decent fee, it is what it is. And crucially for me, if you go and now sign other players, we can sit and talk about why Joe Willock ain't here. But man, I'm not going to care if our midfield is 30. If you see Maddison, Aouar, Partey looking good, Lokonga growing, Smith Rowe, and by God's grace, another number 10 all doing their thing. It's not that you're not going to care. We will sit here and have that debate about Joe Willock, but you get where I'm going, people. As long as you address the area, the elephant in the room, which is midfield, as long as Joe Willock is a means to an end, an unnecessary evil, it is what it is. And one thing I like about the club, as I keep saying, we might look back at Joe and say this is an L, which I think we might actually, for what it's worth. But one thing I've hated about the club, I can't sit here and be a hypocrite to you, Phil, in the sense of we sat here and we say the club's always half in, half out, which, let's be real, Joe Willock's form for Newcastle has kind of swayed that, but he was one of them like Maitland-Niles. 1 minute they're staying, then they're gone, then they're staying, then they're gone. I've always called for decisions in it. If you want to keep them, double down on them. If it doesn't work out, we have that debate or we move on. Obviously, if you want to sell them, sell them. Don't be on selling someone and then he's staying and then he's going and then he's staying and then he's going. Kind of what you're seeing with the futures of Xhaka, Bellerin and Leno. I'm tired of that. And I think that's been there with a lot of young players. And I feel for Joe Willock, on a selfish thing, he needs to go somewhere he can play 20, 30 games. Now, I want Arsenal to sign 2 midfielders, excluding what we have already. So, and it will probably be one. And now that Xhaka is staying, Joe Willock ain't going to get game time. He needs to be selfish. What's going to get you closer to the England squad is probably play. Steve Bruce is begging for you to come back. Steve Bruce has probably been hollering him on all social medias, leaving him calls. He probably can't even check WhatsApp. It's that enthusiasm that I would be going to play for, because I've known Arsenal my whole life. I'm going from a young man to a man now. They don't care that I'm Arsenal hailing. I need to show that I'm one of the best players to play for Newcastle. And let's be real, Newcastle's a big club. Playing on a regular basis is what he needs. Minutes are currency. There's none of these occasional Europa League games and all of these sort of things. And I feel, him and Eddie should have forced the ball out. I'm happy to see Eddie go to Brighton. I want Joe to go and develop and play at Newcastle. Of course, I would like our Haaland boys to show their levels and things like that, but they've needed it. Minutes are currency. There's only so much training you can do, and I get it. It must be wavy being at Arsenal. Half of them are with their fellow Haaland brethrens. They're playing, they're in a very lucky spot in that, bare of them are in the first team. And if I'm honest with a lot of them, there's been better Arsenal players that if they were afforded that luxury when we've had all of this mass group of Haaland boys in and around the team, who knows what could have been said, Minutes are currency. Don't listen to Arteta's sweet nothings. Look at the facts, And for me, if I'm Joe Willock, like I said, the season is starting this weekend. I would have personally preferred to have been at Newcastle from now, so I'm in contention to play. Obviously, he can be in contention, but you'd imagine he'd probably be benched initially, I would just want to go into this full season because there's still a lot let's be real, there's still a lot for Joe Willock to prove. It's half a season. Can he score goals? Can he keep scoring goals? There's midfielders, even ironically, like Dele Alli. He's not scoring. People, you get to that stage where people start correlating good performances to goals. And I can't lie, I see it with Nelson in Germany, as I've said before at times. I've seen it with Joe. Pardon me. He needs to prove he can keep scoring goals, of course. But also on the same topic of that, what are you doing when you're not scoring? Yeah, you might not have scored, but can you get an assist? Can you dictate the tempo of the game? Because as someone who loves Joe Willock, I've learned a lot about his mentality, but in a positive way and negative way. I haven't learned too much about Joe Willock. I know he puts in a shift. I know he's got the energy. I know he's got the box to box, but I shouldn't be praising a midfielder for that. What happens when it's a low block? The way Newcastle playing them games, they're set up for you. But what happens? Joe Willock's kind of irrelevant in a low block. Yeah, he might make the runs, but he's got gear and no idea at this moment in time. He needs to learn to really, not dictate the tempo of the game, because not every midfielder can do that, but aim to do that. Offer a bit more technical ability about you, because like I said, praising someone, much less a midfielder, for running about having legs is an issue. Prove you're a goal scoring midfielder. I'm not saying he's not a goal scoring midfielder. I agree with all of you lot, but that's us Arsenal fans. To the whole footballing world, are you a goal scoring midfielder, or is it a purple patch? Can you do it for a full season now? Because there is going to be ups and downs and highs and lows. He's going to have to prove it week in, week out. Can you do it for a full season and confirm things? The only winners here are Newcastle, because if anything goes wrong, well, we could win, but if anything goes wrong, you'd imagine they make their 20 odd quid back. And also, if he does go on and have a good season, though, that could double his price tag, and things like that. For me, with respect to Newcastle, Joe, you go there, set down your roots, do what you can for a few years, and then see where life could take you, people. In my opinion, but good luck to Joe if that's what he's doing. Well, I say that's what he's doing. That's what he's on. I'm gonna bring up the articles and all those sort of things in a sec, people. But yeah, I like to see what you lot are saying, man. Big up DG for the link up with James Redmond. Just finished watching, and it would be great to see it again at some point in the future. Shout out to James for coming through. I've also been on his channel, and we'll, when there's more things to talk about, or it's Arsenal, Liverpool, and things like that, and all of them things, we'll get stuff done, man. Shout out to James for doing that, and there's more content on the way, man. As I said, make sure you're subscribed to me on Twitch, people, because you lot saw it yesterday. Twitch gang saw it time ago. Just like with the Football Manager content, make sure you're subscribed on Twitch, because 4:30 we go live again. And them things there. What else are you lot saying? Morning to you as well, T1. Big up the members, moderators, subscribers, and all of those things. I hope everybody's doing well and safe. I hope everyone's good. As I said, the target is 100 likes. We're at 107. Can we keep moving, people? There's 429 of you in here, and there's only 100 something likes. God bless everyone who's hit that like button. I wish you nothing but financial freedom, good health, and the rest of it. If you haven't hit the like button, I do wish you good health, but if you're an Arsenal fan, I hope for that. We're not going to get no signings. As I keep saying, you're going to bang your little toe, unexpected, extreme high bill, and you're just lazy, man. And I want you to feel guilty about yourselves, man. Yes, I hope you're doing well and safe. Bro, we don't create chances. We don't shoot enough. We're very, very easy to read. There's not enough creativity. There's a lot of issues within this Arsenal team, man. Deep crosses to strikers who can't head the ball. Bro, Williams about 5'8", 5'9". We was crossing the ball for him. We're a madman team. We do mad stuff. DG, do you think the hour deal is still on? Well, it's never over to the fat lady sings. I think Pereira would be a good signing, but he's gone to the Middle East, so it is what it is. Aston Villa was trying to bid 30 million for Smith Rowe, and Willock had a better season. Oh, I mean, if you just look at it on goal scoring, I wouldn't say that, you know. Could have got 30 plus for Willock. We can, if we, you know, with the sell-on clause, we do stand to get that. And the other variables, we actually do stand to get that. But you're right. But at the same time, the squad needs a revamp. So, Shay, you're right. It could be a necessary means to an end. Should have accepted the low offer for Xhaka too. I would have accepted it, but that's where I think the squad, and that's where I've got to be fair to the club. I would have accepted it, but we can't sit here and say, you know, the club they don't stick to their guns and then they stuck to it. I don't agree with new contracts and things like that. I think Xhaka is again, not in a lot of our eyes, but in Arteta's eyes, Xhaka is as important to this team as Tierney and Saka, purely because everything, rightly or wrongly, runs through that brother in midfield. And I just think we've bottled it, because if we're selling Xhaka, you need to bring in a midfielder who's going to do that and better. Even if Xhaka is staying, we all know that. I think Arteta said, you know what, let's not look for another midfielder of that ilk then, because Arteta don't want to sell Xhaka. Been following you since 1K followers, bro. Big moves. Appreciative of that, man. Humble beginnings. We're still at humble beginnings. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone. Whenever they came on became a part of this. I appreciate it. My fear is that the Willock money will be spent elsewhere, not in the problem areas. My problem with the Willock money is that that's one, but we might actually we need a centre mid, but somehow we sign a bug centre mid, or we sign a good centre mid, and somehow all the source gets dropped. Because as I said at the start, we need new signings, and new signings can make the difference. But at the same time, I do think in certain areas, like the attack, whatever we say, we are very underperforming. And I don't think Arteta has shown me as simple as you get better players, you're going to get the best out of them. I'm going to see a creative midfielder roll into this club, and there's going to be no movement ahead. The pivot behind him isn't going to be sorted. I'm going to see a centre-half roll into this club, and the rest of his teammates are on a joke thing. What's going on there? You sign a striker because of kind of what I said about the cam. You can see how it filters through to the other side of the squad. The cam hasn't been able to do his thing. Football's it's a complex game, but it's very simple at times. And sometimes it feels like we're overcomplicating things. And, you know, certain managers are afforded a lot of propaganda that's seeing them do nonsense. I swear it was like 13 shots and 8 goals for Joe. That ain't happening again. 25 million is a good chunk of change for someone who did well for another team. You know, it just gives you shades of Martinez. Like at the time, Martinez was in the team 5 minutes, and you know, it looked like decent business. You got 20 million on a player that wanted to leave, away from the fact of, you know, he's a good player, he's better than what Leno can bring to the table and things. So it's down to Joe. But for me, as I said, Carl, if we're on this, it's a means to an end. Like, we didn't want to do it, but that might give you more peace for Maddison and all of these sort of things. I don't know. 25 million, I think he's calm down, man. I ain't even gonna lie. Before the Newcastle tick, I would have done it. I would have done it up for 20. I can't lie to you people. You know, so for me, he's done all right. The key thing for me is a sell-on clause, because you look at Aston Villa. Ironically, big up Carl. They signed Ings. You know, Ings was kind of rubby at Liverpool. He's rebuilt himself. They're getting a little 5-6 million off that fee. You know, if Joe develops and goes, you know, I'd like to think the door is open to returning to Arsenal and things if he develops. But he might say, you know what, man's going to do United, man's come back to London to play for Chelsea, City, whatever. If he does that, cool, there's a sell-on clause, do your thing. And like I said, as long as the world keeps spinning in this club, it is what it is. Because as much as I love Joe, bro, it's not a Bukayo Saka Martinelli thing. Man said, DG, don't ban me, but when is the hot tub stream? 100k subs. When we get to 100k subs, we could talk about that. You man are moving mad. Willock would have never scored those goals in an Arsenal shirt. You have to ask why, because why is it that, with respect to Steve Bruce, he's never been renownedly known as an innovative coach and all of these things. Why has Joe Willock gone under him at Newcastle, and you're seeing more of a name? You're seeing stuff. It's whatever reason. Maybe it's just one of those things. I don't know, people. But we can only comment on what we see. 1 second, people. I'm actually still here. I just need to put things on charge. 1 sec, people. Big up everyone that's still locked in and all of those sort of things. I need to. Where's my other charger? Because I can't go gym with empty earbuds. Arsenal could never be that bad, man. I promise I'm still here, folks. I'm still here, folks. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. I would never just run off and do that, bro. Appreciate everybody that's locked in. Everyone's got a lot of things to say. 600 odd of you locked in. Please make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. You're following / subscribing on Twitch. And you're also hitting the like button, people. What else are you lot saying? I promise we're gonna get into all of this, but I'm not gonna lie, people. I've always said I enjoy chatting to you lot. You lot make these streams a pleasure. And it's lovely to see you lot's opinions, man. I'd wait till next summer to spend big. It will be a hard year, but we need to be patient. I mean, I'll always be patient, but you've got to show me something to be patient for, or building blocks. I'll never advocate spending big. You could say we always spend big, spend correctly. And I think that could be done in this window. Arsenal have spent big, you know. We spent 50 million on a player that's only played 1 season in the Premier League, right or wrong. That's big spending to me. Other clubs would probably do the wait and see. We've got a midfielder that we signed for 40 million and obviously didn't go. You know, we have spent big. Let's be real. Do you think we could get Alwa and Madison? Bro, beggars can't be choosers. Get one through the door first, and then we'll see what's going on. I don't think this is the right year to go all out in the market. Bro, it doesn't matter about none of that. Arsenal need to address areas. We don't need to be going for them mad names, but we need to address areas. What other people want to do is still an issue. Because let's be real, even though I agree with you, I actually agree. That's my opinion. But when you look at the backdrop, is this an illusion? You know? It's actually an illusion that people are spending peace. And we need to spend correctly. I wouldn't include Anana in a list of people that are perfect, but fair play. People say we get bullied in the market, yet they want us to accept 11 million for Xhaka. I mean, Roma said they're broke, and now all of a sudden they're trying to get Tammy. So why wouldn't they spend a couple of more quid on Granit Xhaka, this amazing midfielder that everybody said would have a whole list of offers if he departed this club? Big up DG. Understand the Willock sell like I understood the Emmy Martinez sell, but I didn't agree with that sell either. Her facts, bro. I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's, if Arsenal don't do anything, we're saying what's going on there, because the thing would say, you know, the thing would say, as long as you've got midfielders that are doing the jobs, it's cool. If we're staying with these current options, we're in problems, man. The market dictates Xhaka's worth. One club in for him, buyer's market value only decreases from here. Man said 5 days left. DG, you ready for a long season, boy? Boy. I don't think you can ever get ready, but you just have to deal with it. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Going to the Brentford game, Tony Montana, what a name. Unfortunately, not. How highly do you rate Madison? I rate him. I do think fans are gassing it a bit. You know, I do think fans are doing what they do, gas them to a level they're not. He's not world class, but he's a baller, man. He would help us, but he's not going to solve everything. He's not going to be a messiah. We can't keep looking like Ben White. He's not going to be a defensive messiah. There's something to build upon with Ben White. 2 good performances against Chelsea and Spurs, but he's not going to be able to do it alone. Just like one creative man, you know, arguably signing a creative man is the easiest bit, because, you know, if you need creativity in your team, you need movement, you need people to assess when he's got the ball, where do I need to be? When they've got the ball, what do I need to do? I might need to make a run just to do a decoy thing. It's these sort of things. It's not just as white and black as signing a creative man and thinking we're going to improve. Same way, you can't just sign a defender and think we're going to become a defensively solid unit, or sign a striker and think it's just going to correlate towards goals. But football's a complex. It's a simple game. It's also a complex game, and people like to bury their heads in the sand. Only when we lose to these, you know, these quote unquote big games, people want to sit here and have in-depth conversations and things. It is what it is, people.